Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to our first episode of A Hose Guide for Healing. There's an asterisk on that name because I don't know if I love that name or not, but I really wanted to just start this series, and so that's what we have for now. Today I'm going to be talking about a journaling prompt that I actually just did the other day for the first time, and it was pillars that make up my being. And so I created 6, which it doesn't have to be 6, but I just created 6. Like ideas, concepts, actions that I think are core to who I am and that I need to have balanced in my life in order to feel the most fulfilled, if that makes sense. And so this prompt obviously really helped me do a lot of self-analyzing and kind of seeing who I think I am without external sources. I am going to be reading out my list and kind of going in depth into how I created things to hopefully give you a better idea of what these pillars can be. They can be anything you want, but I am just going to talk about mine so you have something to relate to. So first I'll say my 6 pillars. Mine are that I am whimsical and magical, I desire creative expression, time in nature is essential, exploration, I long for connection, and being alone brings growth. And so each of these ideas kind of intermingles with one another, but I know if I'm maybe focusing on 3 instead of all 6, then my life is going to feel pretty imbalanced and I'm probably going to be more frustrated or more angry and things like that. And so we're going to dive farther into each of these pillars, but my first one being that I am whimsical and magical. I started with each pillar and then I kind of wrote a couple things underneath that would help further explain what that pillar means for me. And so underneath this one I said, I believe I have a creative and imaginative view on life. I believe in silly things and connect with my inner child frequently. And so on my healing journey, I've kind of realized that I went through a lot of things when I was younger. I'm still young and still going through things, and connecting with my inner child and just being silly and talking about fairies and playing dress up and things like that are all things that I really find essential to feel fulfilled, because I don't like being a serious person, and I notice when I am trying to impose a stronger idea and like more rigid idea of who I am onto myself, then I am disconnecting from my whimsical and magical side, and that often leads me to being frustrated in the situations I'm in. And so connecting with my inner child and just doing things that I liked to do when I was a kid is really essential for me in healing and making sure that my inner child is noticed, because I think that's something I still struggle with, is feeling validated in who I am just for existing. My second pillar is that I desire creative expression, and then my little notes say, I feel most fulfilled when I am creating and flowing, and I feel whimsical when working with my hands and making little worlds. And so I like to paint and draw and, just make little things for myself. And I notice when I haven't created for a while, usually other aspects of my life also kind of start to go awry, and I get more frustrated easily, and it's harder for me to convey my emotions and things like that. And so I know if I'm getting irritated and when I feel like suppressed in my everyday life and as though I can't fully encompass who I am as a person and fully step into each moment, I usually notice when I haven't created anything in a while. And so that's just another example of like my creative expression and that whimsical and magical side of me like to come together, because a lot of the things that I like to draw and paint are just like little fairies or nature and things like that. So that's my second pillar. My third being time in nature is essential. And then I go on to say, I feel one with this existence and the magic of this world when I'm in nature, and time feels still in nature and I am fulfilled. I think I usually am overthinking things and there's a lot going on in my brain at all times, but I notice that when I'm in nature, it's a lot easier for me to kind of not silence my brain, but silence the overthinking and the bad thoughts and whatnot. And also just in a health and scientific way, I guess, being out in nature is needed as humans. To just walk around and exist in nature is, I feel, fully myself at that moment, being in nature. And it's hard for me because I live in Arizona and it's 1,000,000 degrees outside during the summertime. So I've been just trying to implement each day going outside, even if it's just for like 10 minutes and I just sit outside and journal or something. And that's been helping me so much the past couple of weeks, just making sure I am spending time outside, because it's so easy for me to get just lost in my work, or like lost in my room, because I just feel like it's my little sanctuary, and that's great and all, but then I have to leave and my life's all confusing outside of my room. And so time in nature, I think, is a huge part of my being. It's easier for me to feel like I'm connected with my higher self when I'm in nature. But yeah, so that's the third pillar. My next one is exploration. And so this was a hard one for me to like wrap up in words, because it's more of a feeling for me. And I said, I need to explore new ideas and philosophies of love and life. I crave new opinions and ideas and creations. And there is so much life to live in the present moment. This one is a hard pillar for me to explain, just because I don't know it's so much of a physical thing or it's like an action that I can do. It's more of an idea that I embody, or a philosophy that I embody, I guess. I just feel the need for expansion, and I think expansion and exploration kind of go hand in hand. Because when it comes to exploring all of these new ideas or these new places or exploring new friendships and things like that, that's when I feel the most fulfilled, when I'm connecting and, I don't know, just existing in this world in all of its faces. And so that's why I say there's so much life to live in the present moment. I think when I'm trying these new ideas or new, I don't know, for example, if I'm trying a new art style, I am like so focused on that one moment, and it helps really ground me into the present. And I notice when I kind of get into a cycle of life and a very rigid routine, that it's a lot harder for me to be happy, I guess is the best way to say it. And so this one is kind of reminding me to not stay still and be like a constant person. I think it's fun to explore the highs and explore my lows and see how I can push myself in each of those moments. So my next two pillars kind of go hand in hand, even though they're opposites. The first one I'm going to be talking about is I long for connection. That's the first pillar we're going to talk about. And then the next one is that being alone brings growth. And so those kind of seem like they're opposite pillars of like spending time with people and then being alone, but there needs to be a balance between them, and I still struggle with creating that balance. And so for connection with others, I said I love connecting with others and bringing together love and existence, and that being with others helps bring myself out of my brain and overthinking. And then for my next pillar of being alone, I say I yearn for alone time and expansion, and I push myself in new ways when I am alone and present. And so like I said, I love hanging out with my friends and meeting new people and making those new connections. And I find when I'm focusing more on being alone, or I'm spending a lot of time alone, then I can really get into a cycle of overthinking and just like, I don't know, really getting in my head about things. And so that's why I want to turn back to that pillar of connecting with others, because especially when I'm with some of my, like all of my friends, but I've known so many of my friends for so long, and it's just so easy to feel more in my body when I'm with them and less out of my brain. And so that's why that bullet point, that it helps me bring myself out of my brain and overthinking, because it grounds me in each moment, really, being with my friends, because I'm not like going on my phone and social media, or I'm not like just laying in bed thinking about all of the things I need to achieve or whatever. And so that's why I really value connection. But then again, on the opposite side, being alone, it's the same thing. If I'm spending too much time with others and I'm like hanging out with my friends every day, or I'm like working 24/7 and things like that, then I feel very out of whack. Like being alone is a is a big pillar for me, because I think I grow the most when I'm alone and kind of exploring who I am in each moment. And when no one else is around, I think being alone is so important, or spending time in solitude is such an important aspect of our lives, because at the end of the day, you're just with yourself. Like, even, that might sound scary, but you should enjoy your own company. And when I was younger, like in high school, I always wanted to be with other people. Like, I didn't like being at home or alone, and I just like would run myself into the ground hanging out with other people. And then I came to college and had so much time to be alone, and I was so confused about who I was. And now I've finally come to the point where I enjoy being alone. Like, I love hanging out with my friends, but I've been able to create clear boundaries with myself and my friends, where, you know, maybe they want me to come hang out, but if I'm feeling overwhelmed or just needing to be alone, then I just explain that to them and they can respect that. And I don't know, being in solitude is such a special place for me, because it helps me dive into each of the other pillars, if that makes sense. Like, I spend time alone when I'm in nature. I am usually creating alone. I feel like whimsical and magical when I'm alone. And I just think it's an important pillar. I can't go any farther than that because I feel like I'm repeating myself. But those were my pillars. And along with those pillars, I also made a list of affirmations. Just that, like, throughout the process of making the pillars were things that I wanted to reassure myself of. And so those affirmations were: I trust myself and my possibilities are endless. The wonders of the world are endless. Each moment is a miracle. I am in control of this life. I embrace change. I anchor myself in each moment through my breath. I am grateful to simply exist. I create my own safe space. I appreciate the unknown. I appreciate and love my body for taking me through this existence. I call in love. I deserve happiness and love, and I believe my intuition. So yeah, that's our first episode of A Hose Guide for Healing. Talking about these pillars that make up my being. I would love to hear your guys' pillars, or maybe like one or two of them in the comments. That would be cool. But yeah, this was a really helpful journaling prompt. I guess, I don't know, journaling prompt, I guess, is the easiest way for me to describe it. But I found it very beneficial because I was able to I kind of just like sat there and I had to take a look at who I am. And like, when nobody else is around, who am I? Like, what do I feel most fulfilled doing? Where do I feel the most grounded? Like, in what aspects and things like that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to our first episode. I'm really stoked to continue healing with you. If you guys have any more suggestions for videos or things like that, then you can leave them in the comments. If you're here from TikTok, hello. I decided I'm just going to be posting like 1 minute little snippets of the practice or the idea on TikTok, and then I'm going to be going more in depth on here. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to our first episode, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, your life, and it's filled with lots of love and warmth. I love you. Bye.